This is KGW News at noon.
Oregon Supreme Court has ruled that 10 Republican state senators are ineligible to run for re-election this year under Measure 113. Thank you for joining us at noon. I'm Christine Pitawanich. The decision came down around 8:30 this morning. The court upheld Oregon Secretary of State LaVon Griffin-Valade's interpretation of the measure, which voters approved back in 2022. The law temporarily disqualifies any legislator who racks up 10 or more unexcused absences from seeking re-election. So the argument came down to wording and whether the measure applies to the term immediately after those absences or the one after that. In a statement, the Secretary of State said her intent was to support the will of the voters from the beginning. She says she's thankful to the Oregon Supreme Court for providing clarity on implementing Measure 113. 3 of the Senate Republicans who challenged the law released statements today. They argue Democrats stacked the Supreme Court against them. Senate Republican leader Tim Knopp said the decision will crush dissent. And a company that created marketing campaigns for OxyContin will pay $350 million as part of a settlement rather than face lawsuits. And Oregon is getting some of the payout. Publicis Health worked with Purdue Pharma to increase sales of OxyContin and other opioids. Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum says just over $5 million will come to Oregon. It'll go toward treatment and recovery resources for Oregonians. Oregon already has nearly $1 billion from legal settlements with other companies associated with the opioid crisis. To some other news headlines we're tracking for you. A person was attacked with a knife in Northeast Portland just before 8 o'clock last night. Police say they're not sure whether the person was attacked on a MAX train or at the stop on Northeast Holiday and 7th Avenue in the Lloyd District. Police found the person on the platform and took them to the hospital with a slash in the leg. The injuries are non-life-threatening. Transit police found the suspect and arrested him. And a woman who pushed a toddler onto MAX tracks in front of a crowd of people has been sentenced to 10 years in the Oregon State Hospital. A warning: the images in the story may be disturbing for some people. 33-year-old Brianna Workman pushed the toddler onto the tracks at the Gateway Transit Center in 2022. There you see it. Bystanders were able to pull that toddler to safety, and fortunately that child didn't have any serious injuries. Workman was found guilty except for insanity, which puts her in psychiatric care instead of prison. To a story we've been talking about for more than a year now. Multnomah County does not have enough ambulances to send to emergencies because the county's ambulance provider, AMR, is severely understaffed. Now, response times are far below county standards and getting worse. Last year in Multnomah County, there were nearly 15,000 emergency 911 calls where dispatchers had no ambulances available. Instead, fire crews responded. But people needing treatment in an ambulance or a fast ride to the hospital were forced to wait. Now burnout has become a big problem for paramedics, forced to pick up sometimes 14-hour-plus shifts. Even AMR's vice president admits they're under a lot of pressure.
I couldn't imagine being a paramedic in the system now. Of course, they're a lot younger than I am, but I don't think I could handle the workload and the stress of this system the way it is now.
As a result, there's been major turnover. Last year, AMR brought in 32 paramedics, but lost 44. The county requires 2 paramedics per ambulance. AMR blames that requirement for its staffing issues. Before we get to a quick first look at your forecast, here's a live shot at Pioneer Courthouse Square. Things are getting ready to kick off for the Portland Winter Lights Festival. That's going to be exciting stuff. Mayor Ted Wheeler and Commissioner Carmen Rubio will speak alongside festival organizers in less than 30 minutes. We're talking like 12:30 to kick off the citywide fun and festivities. Rod, before I got into the studio, it was beautiful outside.
Yeah, it still is. We talked earlier this morning on Sunrise that the weather modeling was showing that the cloud deck was not going to be as thick as it was yesterday. Remember yesterday it was so low and gray and dark, we never really saw brightness. Well, what I said is true, but even I'm surprised at how much the clouds have just actually opened up. So we're getting some nice sunshine out there. The rain has been most persistent out across eastern Oregon and actually near but mainly off of the coast so far. Now, reminder for your plans, this afternoon. Right now dry, but there's certainly still a shower possibility in the forecast. Not everybody's getting some sunshine, but we certainly are here in downtown Portland currently. Here's Cannon Beach Live for you. It's 57. The mild weather continues. Wow. Look at this. That's blue sky over Stoller Family Vineyards Estate down in Dayton. And that is blue sky with some clouds off to the west over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out of Loa. Probably hit 60 today. You're at 58 right now. So, wow. All right, PDX, a little cooler out along the Columbia, 53, but partly cloudy. Partly cloudy, a shower chance. It may or may not happen later today, 55, and then in the 40s as we go into this evening. Tomorrow could be as nice as today, and the weekend doesn't look too shabby either. How about that? Your 7-day forecast coming up.
Ooh, crossing my fingers. Okay, thanks, Rod. This next story is about a Portland couple who found themselves playing detective. Trees crashed onto their southwest Portland home during the winter storms, and if that was not unfortunate enough, soon after, someone decided to burglarize their home. KGW's Sydney Dorner explains how they got their stuff back.
An iPhone, CO2 machine, and surveillance camera all help solve a crime.
Wow, we are so lucky.
Shuju Wang and Mike Coleman live in the West Portland Park neighborhood. They have been living out of a hotel after trees crushed their home during this month's winter storm. When returning to pick up items, they quickly realized their cello, electronics, and jewelry had all vanished.
He immediately noticed things were gone. And so then I noticed that all the drawers have been opened, and also things have been moved around.
About a week later, Wang said they grabbed a CO2 monitor from the house, and the history log showed someone had been inside while they were gone.
And you can download historic data, and the meter is really sensitive. Like if a cat walks into the room, it will pick it up. So it's like picking up our breath.
After telling people about the burglary, they found out one of their neighbors had a surveillance camera recording the road.
And then I remembered Thursday prior, I saw two guys walking down the street that did not fit in, and our streets were ice covered. There's no way you would go for a casual stroll, checking out a house or anything, but they were clearly casing the house.
That same night, the couple started getting Find My iPhone notifications. Using their surveillance video and the notifications, they tracked the Apple products to an apartment in Tigard.
So I just drove over there to see if the pickup truck was there, and lo and behold, he passed me as I pulled in and stopped at his apartment, so I knew the exact apartment.
After taking photos and collecting all of their evidence, they went to Portland police. Police got a search warrant and they arrested 54-year-old Jack Kowalski. Shuju Wang says they got their cello and electronics back, but some of her more expensive jewelry is still missing.
I'm very sorry to have, lost some of these material things, but I'm still just thinking, wow, we are so lucky.
Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
Right.
To the big sports story of the week, Anthony Simons hit the big shot last night for the Blazers in the final minute of play as they held on to beat their former teammate Damian Lillard and his new team, the Milwaukee Bucks. Final score 119-116. This was one of those games you didn't want to miss. The biggest moment started with the announcement of the starting lineups. It was the first time former Blazer Damian Lillard stepped back onto the court at Moda Center since getting traded last September. KGW's Orlando Sanchez takes us back to Dame time.
Welcome back to Rip City.
It's just been like being back home.
A homecoming for Damian Lillard.
Being around my family, seeing all the faces being in my house, things like that, it's just great to be back.
A night fans have been waiting for.
Today's my birthday and I love Dame, so it was perfect.
I bought tickets as soon as they came on sale.
I love Dame, have always been a big fan.
Emotional because this is his home, he's our family.
Just like old times.
From Weber State,
Rip City showing love and appreciation to the letter O. A thank you for 11 seasons of memories. The Blazers' all-time leading scorer, soaking in the moment. This time, wearing green.
I just kind of stood in it. It was like, man, this is a big deal, just to take that moment and to have everybody in the building just show me that type of love. It's acknowledgement of a lot of things, during my time here, so I appreciated it.
Video tributes flowing through the first quarter. The good times, on and off the court. Giving back to a city that means so much to him.
is going to always be a part of me. You know, it's going to be a huge part of my legacy and what I've been able to accomplish as a man, as an athlete.
While Lillard competes for championships in Milwaukee, you never know what the future holds. Like Dame Time, returning to Portland one day.
I wanted the opportunity to contend, and our team has an opportunity to contend for this year and years to come. And I'm just living in that, you know, but I definitely, like I said when I was traded, I see a day where, you know, I'll be in a Trailblazer uniform again, you know, before I'm done. But like I said, I'm in this time.
Orlando Sanchez, KGW Sports.